36 over per side contest because of a wet outfield, and the Australians lost Alisa Healy to the 9th ball, but in spite of that they made a decent enough start after winning the toss through Meg Lanning and Jess Cameron, who'd impressed in a defeat to England at this very ground on Friday. She and Lanning, a player with plenty of scores behind her in Australian colours, played nicely as they made steady progress with a 50-run partnership which was made in 12 overs. Danielle Hazell, playing in her first game of the one-day series, broke the developing stand as Cameron on 28 was stumped by Sarah Taylor. At the halfway stage, the tourist had made 80 for 2 from 18 overs, and Lanning reached her 850 from 25 ODI innings in the 19th over, getting there off her 55th delivery. She thus far struck 7 fours and was the wicket that England needed. She and her captain Jodie Fields maintained their side's progress through the middle overs, with boundaries being found each time that the bowlers seemed to be getting on top of their opponents. A handy 67 runs were put on by these two in 11 overs as they started to threaten, with the outfield now getting quicker and offering more value for the shots. So the wicket of Lanning for 64, made from 69 balls, was an important one. Local girl Holly Colvin got it by bowling the opening bat, who tried a reverse which ultimately cost her and her team dearly. Even more so when the Aussies were set back as Fields followed in the next over, as Hazell had her caught behind at 126 for 4 with 10 overs remaining. It was a remarkable take by Taylor, who first anticipated the reverse sweep and then carried off the execution in an extraordinary fashion. It was a catch that many a professional cricketer would have been very proud to have taken, although Fields hadn't learnt from Lanning's mode of dismissal. From those last 10 overs, Elise Perry and Alex Blackwell made hay as they blasted 77 more runs with some great shots. 3 overs in succession, the 30th, 31st and 32nd, all brought a double-figure score as this pair started to lift the run rate just when it was required. Those above them in the order had set things up nicely, avoiding the cluster of wickets which set them back in their last game, and that now allowed these two to express themselves with a number of handy boundary shots, not all of them though coming off gift deliveries by any means. This was the pick of the shots as Perry lifted Anya Shrubsole over square leg for the only maximum of the match. The Australians were now moving in the right direction. They eventually carried the total along to a testing 203 for 4 from their 36 overs, Perry making 45 off 38 and Blackwell 35 off only 29. They'd certainly set up this important game rather nicely. England needed a strong start to their reply, but they lost their inspirational skipper Charlotte Edwards in the 3rd over, as she was very well held at short extra by Blackwell off Erin Osborne for 8. Edwards had scored back-to-back 50s in the previous 2 games, so her wicket would no doubt have lifted the Australians, but this is by no means a top-heavy England side, and Taylor now joined Heather Knight to bat their team into a commanding position. Knight has never looked back since scoring a big 100 in the one test match of this series. Her innings in that match was a crucial one to ensure that the Aussies didn't get 6 points up, and she was now making a nuisance of herself once again. Taylor, meanwhile, is quite simply a quality player. If her stumping and catch in the first innings didn't convince you of that, then the shots she produced in the chase will. She and Knight had England well ahead of the rate with 109 runs on the board at the halfway stage, leaving 95 to get off the last 18 overs. Just before that point, Knight completed her 50, which was made off 53 balls, with plenty of running included, as well as 3 fours. It was the 3rd time that she'd got that far in her 35 one-day innings for her country. Taylor is more used to raising her bat for such things. She's hit 4 one-day hundreds, and this shot took her to her 11th half-century, this one coming at a really good rate off only 47 balls, from which she'd struck 4 fours. If these two could just stick it out for a little while longer, then England would be well on their way to taking a lead into the forthcoming 3 T20 matches, which are all live on the TV. But Knight, having moved ahead onto 69, clubbed a full toss from Osborne to mid-off to end the partnership on 126, which was made in only 18.5 overs. Taylor also perished in the 60s. On 64, she somehow dragged a wide ball from Sarah Coit back onto her stumps to go with 59 needed off the best part of 13 overs. Sounds easy enough, but England had 2 in on naught now, Aaron Brindle quickly moved to 11, adding 21 in 4.5 overs with Lydia Greenway. But the tension grew some more as Perry's good afternoon continued with a direct hit from mid-wicket to run out Brindle and to leave 38 more runs required from the last 9 overs. That tension was eased somewhat as Natalie Siver and Greenway both struck boundaries to keep their side ahead of the required rate, and by keeping their wickets intact, England were now on the brink of what was a very important victory, one which will give the tourists all the work to do in the 3 T20s. Just 6 were needed when Greenway, possibly going for glory by winning the match with a maximum, holed out to Cameron after making 18, but that couldn't prevent England from getting over the line.